Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. So today I thought it would be a good video idea to talk about what could be the next CGC 9.8 comic to explode in price. And I do get this type of question quite a bit, like what's the best 9.8 to buy right now, or what's the best 9.8 to buy for like price appreciation or something like that. So yeah, this will be a worthwhile video to do, certainly. So I ended up getting a short list together of 5 CGC 9.8s that I think could be the next to explode. Admittedly with this one, a pretty challenging list to come up with, and pretty much I'm going to be wrong on most of these. Like, it's almost impossible to predict the future, clearly. But it's still kind of fun, so yeah, I just think these are kind of fun videos and a good exercise to try to do, I think. Okay, so we'll get right into the list here. First one, it's a Phantom Menace number 3. So Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace number 3. And Star Wars books, they're just so hot right now, I know, but I wanted to sort of think of one that might still have some upside, I think. And there certainly might be a couple others that do, but this one came to mind for me, Phantom Menace number 3. Now this one, you get the first appearance of Mace Windu. And it's pretty much the first full appearance of Darth Maul. He's actually in the issue before this a little bit where he's like peeking through the goggles and you can't even really see his face. So I do really think this one plays well as like the first full appearance of Darth Maul with him on the cover and everything like that. I do prefer to this sort of a purple toned cover. It's the non-photo variant cover. That's the 9.8 one we'll look on the census. And it's not a photo, this is actual art, the close-up purple one. So for Phantom Menace number 3, one thing to mention too, this is a Dark Horse Star Wars comic. So, as compared to the Marvel ones, the Dark Horse ones probably a little bit less printed, tougher to find. The Marvel ones more printed, easier to find. So that's going to be a bit of a positive for this one. It really sort of reminds me of kind of Heir to the Empire number 1, sort of before that one ended up blowing up in the last month here. So this Phantom Menace number 3 on the census. There's 42 CGC 9.8s in the blue label for this purple cover specifically too. There is the other photo variant where he's kind of in the desert, but I really like the eye appeal of this one a lot better. For this one, 79.2% of all graded copies are CGC 9.8, so not that rare in the 9.8. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out the more of these get graded over time, because I think you can expect quite a few of them to get graded a little bit more, but you'd like to see it maybe a little bit more rare in the 9.8. So this one, on a list where, I'm thinking that there's a little bit more upside in this one, it's still pretty expensive. There's only 42 out there. First full appearance of Darth Maul, first Mace Windu. So the last completed listings I saw in an auction was $479. This one just ending kind of in the last couple days here. So I think that's that's pretty much the fair price right now. This one, was sort of in the last 4 months, let's call it, going for, closer to 300, let's call it, kind of in that 300 to 400 range. Obviously, all the announcements have come out with Disney, and The Mandalorian is like the most popular show right now. So it was a struggle to kind of find, a Star Wars comic that maybe still has some more upside, but I think this one could be it. So one to consider here, Phantom Menace number 3 in the CGC 9.8 could be the next one to explode. Yeah, because this one being a Dark Horse book and the Heir to the Empire now is right around $1,000, let's call it, in the 9.8. So if Mace Windu gets in Mandalorian, or if Darth Maul, they somehow go to Dathomir and Darth Maul's there or something like that, I think that's the sort of ultimate upside of this book, is right around $1,000 right now. So could still explode. Phantom Menace number 3, certainly one to keep an eye on. Okay, next one here is an Uncanny X-Men number 121. Yeah, and I brought mine out. This is one I do have, luckily, in the CGC 9.8. A great X-Men book of the era. First full appearance of Alpha Flight. So I still think this one definitely has some upside. Now, certainly the ultimate upside would be, this book doesn't seem to be speculated on, or doesn't seem to be speculated on as much lately as like, the first Gambit, like X-Men 266, or even the annual book there of First Rogue. That one has really almost doubled in price in the last kind of, 6 to 12 months. Whereas, I don't think many people are speculating that, hey, maybe Alpha Flight shows up in the new MCU X-Men. I think that would be amazing, first of all, but if it happens, it would take a lot of people off guard. and this one would really explode. But if not, such a great investment grade book at sort of these prices too, so it's not kind of an all or nothing thing on if they're in the movie, for me anyway, personally, as an investment book. So a 321 CGC 9.8s in the blue label for this one. This is from 1979, so this one's a pretty old one that you can still get in the 9.8 with a big first full appearance Alpha Flight. I really like this one. 12.4%, the 9.8 ratio. So of all graded copies, 12.4% of them are 9.8s. For a 1979 book, that's, it's good, but maybe not great, but still a really nice ratio. Most of them are not 9.8, certainly, that are of all graded copies. So having a look at some of the prices for 121 right now, I saw an off-white to white 9.8, looking pretty good too, go in an auction for $760. But some nice ones in the white pages. I got a really nice copy too, luckily. Similar ones looking to mine are about $900. Yeah, there's been like 3 or 4 that have sold around $900. So this is a serious investment grade book, but I still think that there's some upside there, and it would explode if Alpha Flight was confirmed in the new X-Men movie, or maybe they were able to keep it a secret somehow, and there was a Vindicator or Alpha Flight cameo in the new X-Men MCU movie. So yeah, then I think a positive for this one is some of these X-Men MCU announcements haven't really started to happen yet. So there's not really many speculators, in the X-Men space, like compared to maybe the Star Wars space or, some other books. But yeah, X-Men 121 stands on its own as a great investment grade book, but it could explode certainly if Alpha Flight found their way on the big screen, I think. Okay, our next one here is one I do have in my collection. It's a Deadpool, Merc with a Mouth, number 7. Yeah, this is the first appearance of Lady Deadpool, and people are still, there's certainly Deadpool rumors. They're going to make Deadpool 3 now. I still think kind of people are sleeping on probably one of the best ways to speculate on Deadpool 3 right now. I think is Merc with a Mouth, number 7, hoping for a cameo or a big appearance of Lady Deadpool. I think that would be a huge hit. Just, certainly the studios are using like female heroes and things like that. Like, I think if that happened on the MCU and Lady Deadpool was really cool on camera and everything, this thing could be like almost neck and neck with, Spider-Gwen, like just getting up there in popularity certainly, and maybe even in price in the CGC 9.8. So I would say with Merc with Mouth number 7, there's some explosion potential, let's call it. So 185 CGC 9.8s in the blue label for this one. Yeah, this one too is one of those sort of semi-low printed, kind of books that, not a lot of people when it came out were really going after it, but still has a big first appearance. Only 185 9.8s out there's a positive. 54.6% the CGC 9.8 ratio. So just over half of all graded copies are 9.8s. Not bad for a modern comic book. But prices for Merc with a Mouth 7, pretty much from like $200 to $250. Yeah, there was one that just recently sold for $250, I believe, but some were selling for like $210-ish, $215 on the completed listings on eBay. So I think that's a price target to aim for on this one, and this one's got potential. And yeah, who knows? It could be any time now where maybe there's a Lady Deadpool rumor or something like that, but even if that doesn't happen, a pretty great first appearance. I've read Merc with a Mouth too, like pretty much like the first 11 or 12 issues, and it's cool. It's cool how like Deadpool's just walking around with his head the whole time, like the zombie head. It's a pretty cool story. So Merc with a Mouth number 7 is one of my favorites, and I think it's got explosion potential, let's call it. Okay, next one here might be a bit of a longer term play, but I'm gonna go with here a Batman 635. Yeah, first appearance of Jason Todd as Red Hood. Big kind of a Red Hood first appearance in the modern age, pretty much, for this one. Great cover, so collectible. I have a really nice raw copy of this one that's probably a 9.8. But I don't have this one in the 9.8, unfortunately. But for Red Hood, I do say maybe a bit of a longer term play with this one, because the next Batman movie coming out next year, I don't think he's going to be in it from what I've heard or anything like that. But I think the upside of like a big Batman Red Hood movie, like that would be huge. I think it would be a huge Batman movie, and hopefully something like that happens in the next like 5 to 10 years maybe. They haven't used Red Hood in any movies really. There was that very popular animated movie, Under the Red Hood, I think it was, which was so cool. So I think, yeah, Batman 635 is a definitely cool one you can just enjoy having if you're a big Batman fan. But I think there is some explosion potential if, yeah, the Red Hood ever found its way into some big pop culture event or something like that. 597 CGC 9.8s in the blue label. It's 43.6% of all graded copies are CGC 9.8s. That's not too bad for a modern. Anything under 50% is, you know, decent for sure. So for Batman 635, seeing some prices right now in the 9.8. I think a good deal is kind of $310, like just over $300. This is an interesting one. I was pretty picky on trying to pick this one up in the 9.8. About a year ago, I remember some of these going for like $155, $165 in auctions. And I really kind of wanted to grab one around that price, but most were kind of selling for like $190 to $200 during that time. I tried to be picky to get close to that price, never ended up getting one. Now they're around $300. So this one's kind of done pretty well in the last 6 to 8 months here of just the 9.8s in general doing pretty good, because this is a big key that, you know, a lot of Batman fans want for sure. So yeah, the bottom line with this one is you can enjoy this one as a, you know, a big, awesome first appearance in the modern age of Red Hood. But yeah, I think if Red Hood ever came out in a movie, this one could really explode, or some pop culture event, whatever that might be. So still some upside, I think, for Batman 635 in the 9.8. Okay, last one here we'll talk about. It's a Spawn #1 in the Newsstand. Yeah, the more rare version of first appearance of Spawn #1 Newsstand in the CGC 9.8. Pretty much I recommended this one from like just the first videos I did on the channel. Yeah, right from the beginning on the channel here. Really loved Spawn #1 in the Newsstand as a great, if you're a big Spawn fan, one of the best 9.8s you can get as a Spawn fan. So with this one though, you know, it's lulling a little bit after there were pretty much, like a lot of people told me, like it's confirmed the Spawn movie is like happening now, like it's being made. So, you know, if you want to run with those rumors, there could be quite a lot more upside probably to Spawn #1 in the Newsstand in the next like 2 to 3 years here. I would imagine McFarlane probably moves a little slower than MCU, so whenever you're hearing like rumors that the movie's going to come out, it's probably going to be a couple years at least. So for Spawn #1 in the Newsstand though, those rumors really sort of hit hard like about 2 months ago, I would say. And I saw one of these in an auction go for $1,090. And that was the highest price I'd ever saw one of these go for. I never saw one sell for over $1,000. So we're what, 2-3 months after that? Spawn #1 Newsstand, I saw one sell for $700, just like this one. Same one that would have went for $1,090, kind of peaked during those rumors. So I think right now you can kind of maybe think about getting in there and grab one of these. Let's call it from maybe $600 to $700 in the next 6 months here. Spawn #1 Newsstand, you know, such a great book, so collectible, the more rare version of Spawn #1. And then if, you know, over the next year or two, you hope that this Spawn movie is happening, and then, you know, all the announcements start, and then the trailer comes out, and then this one in that type of environment, I see it as sort of a 1,000-ish book, pretty much right around $1,000, 1,100 maybe, in a sort of, yes, like the Spawn movie's coming and like the trailer's coming soon, like that type of environment. So still some room, I think, for Spawn #1 Newsstand in the 9.8 to explode. Okay, so just a short list of 5. I did try to want to be you know, a little bit selective and, you know, hope that for each book you know, the scenarios kind of made sense. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll have a list in the description below if you wanted to take a quick look of all the books. But yeah, for this list, pretty tough to do. Yeah, this is, you know, to kind of predict the future, see what book's gonna explode. Like, that is damn near impossible, basically, but it's still fun, I gotta say. And yeah, like I said too, I'll most likely probably be wrong on most of these, to be honest. But I wanted to make sure too, like, these are great books no matter what. So you can, you know, hope that some of these ideal scenarios happen and they explode. But if not, you buy these books, you can really enjoy having them if you like 9.8s. I would really love to have any of these. I do have some of them, obviously. So yeah, I think a pretty good video idea to get through today. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you haven't already, I would invite you to join the team and subscribe to Team CGC 9.8. Yeah, I'd love to have you on our comic book collecting and comic book investing team. Hit the bell for all the latest notifications. Add me on Instagram and Twitter too. All the links in the description below. But you know, a fun video, and definitely no guarantees that these will, you know, be the next ones to explode, but it is fun to think about. Okay, thanks so much for watching and all the support from the team. Yeah, I really appreciate all that. And message me on Instagram if you did have any questions, whatever it might be. Okay, thanks again, team, and I'll see you on the next one.